suits the quote, Laura. So let's look at the technical requirements. A laptop I've found is the best option, just because it's got the built-in sound and webcam. Or you could use a desktop, but make sure there's a webcam. Some of the clients have older desktops and they don't have a webcam. The meeting app, there are many options. Some are paid, some are free. We're going to demonstrate on Zoom. It's a free platform. So just get to know your platform, play around with it, rope in friends and family to test it. When I started, I didn't really figure about lighting, you know, these things that you don't think about. And somebody came in and looked and said, they can't see your face, you're all dark. And then the person just put my bedside lamp behind my laptop and I could be seen. Sound, you don't have to have a headset, it's optional, but it can really help. As Laura was saying, sometimes if they're your own children making a noise in the background, it can cancel the sound. And an extra webcam can be very useful, but again, it's optional. There are all sorts of other ways. Maybe Laura will talk about that a little later.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
So here's my setup in my garage. My table's a door with trestles. Start out as simply as possible and add new information as you can manage. Ease creates, urgency destroys. It's a Shinto proverb that I use when I'm teaching for a most wonderful NGO called the Shine Center. And it's just so relevant now. You just be easy, take it easy, do your best little by little. The thing that worried me when I started 30 seconds ago was the informed consent and letters to parents. And I was just reading everything that came in from SASHLA and HPCSA. But one thing that really struck me was we have to check with our malpractice insurance, which platforms they're going to cover. So a little letter will help there. And then SASHLA has posted a template for us for informed consent. Tailor it to your practice. You're welcome to use mine, just adjust it. Mine is for school-age learners, so just adjust as you need. And please be aware of signed informed consent and the POPI Act before videoing sessions. So that's protection of personal information. We've got to be very careful of putting the children that we work with out there on Facebook. Just check with SASHLA before posting any sessions online. That's what they're there for. Don't be scared to approach them. They can guide us. Little things that I've found that parents during lockdown, some of them don't have scanners and printers, and you can't start sessions without informed consent, signed informed consent. So I've been showing, one of my colleagues, Jane, said, oh, PDF's got a tool where you can fill and sign. There's a little bar with a fountain pen to do a signature with a mouse or drop in a signature. It was news to me, and now I'm just passing it on to my clients. Another thing that I've come across quite a lot is when I'm working with a child, we need to declare who's in the room. Now, I'm lucky I can shut the door, but if somebody had to pop in and the child I'm working with didn't know they were there, that's not okay. So I always also say to the child, if anyone comes into the room, just dip their head down and let them say hi. So that if you're having a counseling session and it's private, it's all declared. It's a very intimate thing. It's in a way more intimate. You're in people's homes. Sometimes it's in the lounge, sometimes it's in their bedrooms. So I think we have to be very careful about declaring. Best practice tips, professional conduct. I know it's just such an obvious one, but little things like getting dressed in the morning and grooming. You know, I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time in my pajamas. But we're professionals and we are wanting to give our clients confidence. It's amazing some of the pajamas I've seen in the clients, and some people have come in their towels, and we just mustn't do that. We just need to remain professional. Session notes. When we get back from lockdown, we need to go to our files and know exactly what we've done. So little things like that. Don't drop the ball. Let's even tighten up more. Be POPI compliant. Often our children need a parent or somebody to help them, guide them with the tech, with the activities. They should be 18 years or older. Another thing that I had this morning, or it was yesterday, is team meetings, co-treatment with other professionals. These platforms are incredible. They're so easy. I mean, we don't have to all drive to a meeting. So don't stop that value added in our practices. Feeding back at the end of a session with a parent. For those of you who work in schools, it must be so wonderful now to have contact with the parent and touch base with them every single session. So it really is very rich. Set up best practice tips. Again, this seems so obvious, but these are things that have come up in my sessions. For the client and the therapist, support your feet. Okay, you know, I work with a lot of children who've got attention control difficulties, and you know, they're moving like this, and I realize that their little feet are flapping. So make sure they've got their feet on a wedge. Elevate your laptop. Once you've done 3 or 4 sessions back to back, I'm telling you, your neck and your back is going to hurt. I've got multi-bifocals, so I'm looking like this down on my laptop. My first day, I had the most terrible neck ache. So look after yourselves. Eye hygiene. I can't even remember who told me this, and I'm sure the optometrist will tell me I might be getting it wrong, but I use it all the time and it helps me. The 20-20-20 rule. After you've been looking at the screen for 20 minutes, just look away in the distance, far outside the window, at least 20 meters away, for about 20 seconds, just to relax those eyes. I work a lot with reading on the screen, and people get visual stress. Prep, prep, and prep. It's like any busy therapy day. If you've prepped all your materials, you've got everything open for the day, oh, you can breathe. And I must say, I need a gap between each client of 5 to 10 minutes just to catch my breath, to make contact. And a very funny one. Again, it seems obvious, but when you finished your session, you end your current session, smile and end the meeting and end it. Just today, a mother was having some tech problems. She says, I'm just going to get out this meeting. And she didn't end it. And I heard a very interesting, unfortunate conversation, which I shouldn't have heard. All right, so let's not get ourselves into hot water. Mistakes happen. Tech failure. Okay, this is not if it's going to happen, it's when it happens. Every single one of us are going to have to negotiate this. Okay, we got to be really flexible about this. So keep the parent cell number right there close. And something that can cause some misunderstanding is charging if there's tech failure. So please have a very clear agreement with your client about charging and rescheduling. Include it in your informed consent. Let there be no gray areas. So today, I had a session where we started at least 20 minutes late. And I was lucky that I had a 20-minute gap afterwards, so I could extend it and give her full time. But another client that happened with, and I just had to charge them for the time that I was there, but I tell them before I bill. The Wi-Fi speed. I don't know if I'm like jerky today, but sometimes my Wi-Fi is just got gremlins. I don't know. I'm jerking all over the place. It's terrible. So just go onto the internet and Google speed test and wait for the download and upload speed tests. It's incredibly quick. So it looks like that little blue box on your right, and you'll see an upload speed and a download speed. And in this particular instance, it basically said your connection should be able to handle streaming and HD video. If multiple devices are streaming video at the same time, you may run into some problems. And that's exactly what happened. I was having my team meeting with my wonderful colleagues, and everybody's faces were getting all jerky. Check who else is using the Wi-Fi at home. Don't tell them to stop watching series. Call your tech person. That might be a professional. It might be your son. And breathe. Okay, now we're going to look at some examples of therapy in action. So Laura will do this. I just want to tell you that, just remind you, that you're a trained therapist with all the intervention skills necessary. Teletherapy is therapy. That's it. You take yourself there. It's just using a different modality. So I was looking at my caseload thinking, who do I offer this teletherapy to? And I kept on passing over this 16-year-old ASD boy, thinking, oh, he's going to act out, he's tricky. And then I just thought, no, I'm going to try. And blow me down if I didn't have the best session I've had with him in the last 2 years. He had no sensory distractions. He was in his bedroom with his aircon and his favorite thing in the world, his computer. So, yeah, there are aha moments all the time.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Right, we went back and forth a little bit about how best to give some practical examples, and we're not, you know, we don't need to teach you how to be therapists. You guys know how to do this stuff, and there's so much out there. It's really hard to kind of filter, and I think a lot of us, well, I certainly in these last few weeks have had information overload completely to the point where I was paralyzed. And we don't want to do that to you. What I want to do is just show you a couple of things that are possible, just to give you a glimpse of it. And at the end, we've got a list of resources for you that you can go and have a look yourself. But I thought I would give you an example of something I did in an Arctic session recently. And I filmed it, Elizabeth and I filmed it beforehand so that we avoided firstly having to use children and secondly having to deal with live tech in a live webinar, because as Elizabeth said, the tech will always bite you. I've very rarely had a session yet where something hasn't gone wrong. So we filmed something before that I'll show you of how you might possibly incorporate a couple of these things in an Arctic session. PDF worksheets, you can find ones online, you can scan in your own favorite material. You can hold up things to the webcam, you can incorporate games, and basically just to show you that anything you would do face-to-face could usually be adapted. So I'm going to now play with the tech. I'm going to stop this PowerPoint for a second and just get up a video for you. Okay, so I'm going to just show an example of what I might do in an Arctic session. So I have opened up already something that I got off the internet. It's a PDF of Word Initial S. I'm going to share that screen now. So you should be able to see that now. Have you got that, Elizabeth?
I do. I've got lots of pictures with S words.
Lots of pictures. So I might use that, and I can use annotate on the menu at the top. I can ask the child to say pictures for me. So maybe they'll say sit, and they might say it 3 times, or say it in a sentence, or whatever. And I have an option of stamp. Great, well done. And just to mention, you can't see here on my screen the annotate tool because you're seeing, yeah, it's a recording of a session, so you can't see the toolbars. But what we have put in the slideshow later on is screen grabs of what that annotate tool looks like. But basically, it's a menu along the top. Move along and star them off as we go along, or we can cross them off, or whatever we like. So you can work with PDFs like that. And in between that, you can, so yeah, you can do with those whatever you would normally do in an Arctic session, at whatever level you're at. And then let me just clear that. I'm going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to go now to a game that I might use in between, either for reinforcement or to practice. So now I've brought up something from Highlights Kids, which I really like. So I might get the child to say something. Imagine I'm working at sentence level. I see a slice of pizza. Can you see the pizza, Elizabeth?
No. Can you help me?
Okay, so I'm going to give a hint. Oh, wait, that's not it. Here we go. Let's try a hint. Do you see the slice of pizza? And then the child would say, yes, I see the slice of pizza. Now, I could give them the remote control. I could give you the remote control to select it yourself, but it delays things. So, and I'd rather you tell me where it is. So where is it? It's on the wheel of the bicycle. There you go.
Slap the pizza on the wheel of the bicycle.
Right. There you go. So I've got lots of Arctic in there, and I've got lots of language in there as well. That's pretty high tech. You don't have to be so high tech.
what you could do is you could hold your flashcards up to the screen, or you could even just hold your whiteboard up to the screen. Now, when I hold this whiteboard up, my S is reversed. It's not reversed for you, is it?
No.
It's not, but for me it is. And the reason it's reversed is because I have got screen mirroring on. So I'm going to change that in video settings. I'm going to take off mirror my video, because if you're writing on your board, it gets confusing because you're reading backwards. So it doesn't make any difference for the person on the other end, but for you, if what you're holding up looks back to front, just go and check that your screen mirroring is on. Then I might also have the option of using a whiteboard. So I can do share screen and I can go to a whiteboard. And we can write on here. We have options for typing on here, drawing on here, and so on. So that can be quite nice.
I actually, just to jump in there, I saw a nice idea on another Facebook page of materials of someone playing hangman on there with a child, which worked quite nicely.
And we also have the options just now of boom cards, where you can use flashcards. There's a potato head option on there where you can move bits and pieces around for reinforcement as well. So lots of different things that you can do, ranging from high tech to just what you have in your room. Okay, I just wanted to show boom cards quickly because they come up so often in teletherapy. So here is the home page, boomlearning.com. You can sign up for a free account. I'm already logged in. So if I go in and have a look at my library, I'll see different things that I've added that I can access. So for instance, this one is quite nice, potato head. I use this sometimes for reinforcement. Let me just submit so that it will clear it. So what I can do is the child can say to me where they want things to be. So, you know, dragging a nose, oops, dragging glasses, and so on. Again, you could give the child the remote control, but it does make it quite slow. So I'm going to quit that. I've got different cards for things like basic concepts. Just let that load. So this is for colors, and find green. This might be quite a nice one to give the child the cursor, and they can select, and it basically it's self-correcting, so it'll mark them as the right or incorrect answer. You can go to the store and you can search for whatever it is that you want. Most of the speech therapy things are under special education, so you can search for something. What would you like me to search for, Elizabeth?
I would like you to search for articulation of R.
Articulation R. And it's searching. Let's just search for articulation, shall we? And there you go. It's come up with R. And I can sort by price because I'm quite price sensitive. And it'll come up with all the different ones. Okay, so now it's showing me Arctic from price high to low of all the different color options, and these are free. And then you also have an option to go to Studio and make your own boom cards. It's really quite easy.
Okay, so I'm going to take you back to the PowerPoint now. Let me just get in there. Okay. Right, so that's just an idea of some of the things you might use with an Arctic session. And then just to talk about, for instance, for an adult with aphasia, I know a lot of us who work with adult neuro have apps on iPads that we quite like, the Tactus therapy apps I know a lot of us are using. The nice thing is if you have an iPad or an iPhone, it's very easy to mirror that to the Zoom screen. So when you go to share screen, it comes up with this kind of option here, and you will see iPhone, iPad via AirPlay. You click on it with your iPad next to you open, and they'll find each other, and you can connect through that. So that is quite nice. You then need to still interact with the therapy app through the iPad, so you need your client to be telling you what to push. So depending on your client's level, you're going to need someone with them to assist. But really with aphasia as well, with your adults, you can use any of your worksheets and materials that you have that you like. You can scan them in to make them digital. Obviously, just be careful of copyright if it's not things that you've created yourself. And then I know a lot of you work with younger children, which can be very hard work, which is why I don't do it. But I know that this is the concern that comes in for people is, what do I do with these young kids who are not going to sit at a screen? So some of them will, and some of them are happy to, and they'll be happy to interact with your boom cards and your games. You can also use the things that you would have used in therapy usually, things like finger puppets or grab bags. Barrier games are lovely, where you set up, you're each giving each other instructions. Board games, if you have a second camera, there's lots of information out there on how to set up a second camera using your phone. All of those things can work. Where people get anxious is about, what about the kids who aren't going to sit there, who need a lot of hands-on, or who are running around the room or need to be on the floor. And that's actually great. It gives you such a nice chance to go to a parent coaching model, where you actually give the parents the tools. You hand over the control and you give them the tools to manage that session. So it's actually very empowering for the parents, because what often happens in sessions is that the parents are looking to you as the expert and they're handing over control to you. And now that can't happen. Remember that is quite anxiety provoking for the parents, even more so than for you. So you need to be talking to your parents or your caregivers before the session, telling them exactly what to expect, what's coming up, what kind of things they're going to need, what you're looking for, so that they can be well prepared. You're going to have them position the screen where you can see them, and you are going to be commenting and narrating and giving feedback as you would in a session. And really, it can work beautifully. I was talking to my colleague Jenna earlier, who's been doing this for a couple of weeks, and she said it's actually just working so amazingly, and the parents are loving it because they are connecting with the children in a way that they didn't always get to before with you in the room. So don't sell yourself short with this kind of therapy. It's not lesser therapy. It's not just a kind of band-aid on a problem. It's a really powerful way of doing therapy, and just to be confident with it. I know we're all anxious, but don't go to parents and say, oh, I don't know what I'm doing this, oh, look, we'll do our best, and if it doesn't work, you don't have to pay. And it's just, don't set up nervousness in them. Elizabeth, you said something earlier about fake it till you make it, and it is kind of like that, because chances are you will be fine and you'll have a great session and it'll go really well. So just be brave. Elizabeth, this is over to you.
So I do lots of literacy and language therapy. So I'm not going to tell you how to do therapy, but I just want to show you how I've grappled with the bits and bobs that I do in a therapy session, different targets for different children. So we'll look a bit of PA, some flashcards. Written language is the big one for me. Paired reading and YouTube clips. So let's have a look at the little video clip that Laura and I did.
I'll get that up for you
Thank
now.
you.
I'm getting good at this tech now, but it has taken time.
The learning curve is steep.
Okay, so I'm going to show you what I might do for a phonological awareness activity and a flashcard activity by sharing my screen. And I want to share the webcam, the external webcam. So I go share screen, and then at the top of the screen, you've got basic, advanced, and files.
Just again to point out, I know you can't see that, but Elizabeth has taken screenshots that will be in the PowerPoint just now that you can refer back to so that you can see what it is that she's talking about.
Click advanced. You then will go to content from second camera, and you share that. Okay, so there is my whiteboard, and if I wanted to do hat, change cat to cot, cot. Okay, if the child, just check that the child is seeing it in the same way that you're seeing it, and they're not reading right to left. So if they are not seeing it in the correct direction, you're just going to hover above your ID and your stop share bar, and you're going to go to the down arrow for the video, and you're going to go to video settings, and then there's one that says mirror my video. Just change the setting there. Okay, so there's that one. Let's stop sharing that. And that external function is also beautiful for your flashcards. You can actually go through all sorts of packs of cards there. The second thing that I want to show is written language, because that's what I've really been grappling with. Is I do a lot of writing and editing, and it's very labor intensive in terms of scaffolding errors. So, and some of you might even have better solutions, but what I found now is that I will get a child to write, okay? And then when they finish writing, they simply are going to fold up the piece of paper. I'm just trying to turn the thing. I'm just getting that. They will fold the piece of paper up very clearly to the screen, and then you simply take a screenshot of it. And all laptops have got a screenshot or a, what is it called? A screen grab. Print screen is it's called. So on my computer, for example, it's FN print screen. So you find that and you print the screen. You then have got a photograph of their work. If it's not good quality, you can also just take a photograph with the mum's cell phone, okay, and then share it. But I find that if you take a screenshot, it works incredibly well.
I'm just pausing there because Elizabeth, you said you'd found an even easier tool since we made this yesterday.
Yeah, so, you know, the learning is just kind of taking over. This is going to be outdated in about 3 hours. So Jane LaRue said to me, oh, I've just downloaded a little thing called Snipper. And it's so simple. So you have it on your bar at the bottom, and then you open it and you just drag it across the bit that you want to copy. So it's like a screenshot, but it's just clearer. And then you edit it and you put it into a file, and you open it up on screen share. Beautiful, simple.
Yeah, and Mac has something called Grad, which works in a similar way.
Then what you do is you just, the trickiest part is knowing where you've saved your screenshot. So play around with that a little bit. And I will show you, for example, what, by sharing my screen, with a little session that happened this morning. So I'm going to go back to basic, and I'm going to share what this lad wrote for me. So he read a passage, and then he just wrote about the main idea. And you can see there's a lot of difficulties there. So when I asked him to hold it up, I always asked, I gave quite a bit of room at the top, because it's very hard to annotate right at the top. So there's your screen share. Now I want to do some annotation. So I want to give them some feedback. So I then go and hover again, and I say annotate. And then I might say, I'll choose the stamp option, and I might say, is that really a title? And we might discuss it. And then I might look at this, a father and son called Beckons. There's something in that sentence that might need a bit of work. And I might then go on to draw, and I might actually say, let's have a look at there. It's a proper noun. I might even put in my text box over here and say, remember we spoke about proper nouns, and what do they need? They need caps, don't they? So we might put some, and when you finished all of the annotating and the discussing of it, you save that. So I will stop that screen share, and I will show you what this lad, what it actually looked like when we marked it later on. So then you'll see I've given him some feedback, he's written it again, and we can actually then go through 3 or 4 revisions using that annotator. It's a very powerful option. I'm finding the child needs a little bit more comprehension, so I then want to go to a YouTube clip. If I go to a YouTube clip, I've obviously prepared this ahead of time. So here's a whole thing on photosynthesis. Now, when we play that, Laura, can you hear that?
No.
All right, so that's another function that we want to try and find, is to be able to share the audio. So if we have a look at going onto that black line there, and we can go onto the 3 little dots, and we can say share computer sound. And now let's have a look.
Through its roots. In the roots, there are tubes, which are called.
Perfect.
So, and I don't know about you, but all my books are locked up, and I need books. So go on to the internet, find free digital books. There are plenty of them. And then what I've done to prepare ahead of time, because if you go onto a digital book, you're on the internet, it's going to throttle your bandwidth, it's going to slow you down. That's what's happening with me. So I simply download a PDF version of a book. I go onto share screen, and I happen to find a really cute one called Address for Porcupine. And I might want to just close this bar on the side. So I'd go to View, I'd go Hide, and I'd go Tool Pane, so we've got a better book. And I can start pair reading with a child. What's beautiful here is when I do paired reading sessions, I often ask the mum to do it and I watch it. So again, you can go on to these beautiful tools and you can look at remote control. And here you can hand over the remote control to the mother. And you can say, give mouse keyboard control to Laura Russell, the mother. And then Laura can then track for the child, and then I can watch. And then if there's a really tricky word, Laura, you can even highlight it using the highlighting pen. So just track that. Now Laura's in charge of the mouse, and she's going to track for the child. The new year is, oh, get them.
Oops. I was after get them.
All right, you've jumped a line, Laura, it's fine. Your tracking will need to be worked on. Okay.
It's lagging a little bit. That's often the issue.
Okay, so we can then stop sharing that. I'm going to just get my power back from Laura. I'm trying to get my screen control back, Laura. And I'm going to take away remote control, abort control. Okay, so that's how you can do a very simple paired reading. So really it's all in the preparation.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint. I've just popped in here, Elizabeth. You took some screenshots that I think I don't know how much you want to go through them. These were screenshots that people can check of things that you couldn't see in your video, how to get to things like your extra webcam. You can talk them through, I'll click through.
Yeah, so look, you can Google this, but if you're like me, I like to let somebody show me. So if you've hooked up an extra webcam, you screen share, and then you'd go to the advanced setting. Next slide, Laura. And then you would show the, I've got to look close now, change to the second webcam. Okay, and then you share it, and then it'll show the webcam. And make sure you're not mirroring. Okay, next one. This is the screen mirroring. I didn't know how to do it for the first 3 days of therapy. So when I saw myself, I flipped it around. And then when eventually I got the screen mirroring right, my brain was all confused. I'm quite easily confused at the best of times. Anyway, so this is how you screen mirror. You look at your video settings, and there you'll see mirror my video. And you just click on that or unclick on that and just check.
And I must just say, while we're on the screen, my favorite feature of Zoom is on just below that, touch up my appearance. When you click on that, it takes 5 years off you. It's fantastic.
All right, and this is to find, again, I was working with the ASD kid and I was doing this comprehension and he didn't understand it. So I thought, okay, I had a YouTube clip ready about photosynthesis. And then, of course, the sound didn't work. He couldn't hear the sound. So I unfortunately found it after the fact. So this is how you share the sound on a YouTube clip. You'll basically go onto the more, and then what is it? It's share computer sound. And this is my find of the day. Actually, it's a 1-day-old find. It's the snipping tool. So really, you can just, they hold it up close to the screen, wait until the screen focuses beautifully, and then you snip it. And then, of course, when you put it on the, you share it, you can actually enlarge it. So in fact, their writing is even bigger than if they were sitting next to you. So it's just rather lovely. And then annotating the written language. Once you've shared the screen, you're just going to hover and you've got all those annotation tools, the stamps and the underlines and the text that I showed you.
Thanks, Elizabeth. In terms of therapy resources, as I said, there's so much out there. Don't get overwhelmed and paralyzed. Just start with what you've got. Find a nice client who you know will bear with you if there's any issues. Remembering that most of them, everyone's in a state of high anxiety at the moment. People are anxious, and yeah, so don't be scared to try things out. Don't feel you need to be doing things with all the bells and whistles. Use what you've got. Talk to parents to find out what they have at home. The chances are they've got Lego and Play-Doh and they can make bubbles. You can email them through things to print if they've got a printer. Use what you've got. You can use your phone. There's an app called Cam Scanner that I really like, but there's lots of free apps. You can use it to make PDFs of your favorite worksheets if you don't have them digitally. Again, just check copyright. And there are really many digital resources that you can get online, and many of them are for free. I've got a list coming up now that I'll quickly talk you through, and this list will be available to you online as well. This is just what we found in the last week and a half. I mean, it's endless what there is. I am living on this page at the moment, the Teletherapy Materials for Speech Language Pathologists. It's a Facebook page. It's American, but I see it's growing. And every question you can imagine is asked on there. And what I really like about this page is that it's really reassuring to see that everyone's new to this. Everyone's asking questions and panicking, and how do I do this and how do I do that? And you can see the evolution of people figuring it out. We are not a million light years behind the rest of the world. The whole world is figuring this out. So just be reassured that yeah, you're not alone. Pinterest, I'm old, I had to get to grips with Pinterest. It really is worth getting to grips with. There is so much on there. Here's some kind of words you can search for to find the useful things. Boom cards we've mentioned, and I can see already on the Facebook pages that some of you are using these already. There's free access, ultimate access till the end of June if you sign up with that yellow button. Teachers pay teachers. Lots and lots of digital things on there. Again, the kind of keywords you might want to use. And then just some websites that I found useful for games. This abc.com, you can make ice creams and all sorts of things. I made the backpack yesterday with a child, so every time they did certain things, they could choose the color or the zip or the pattern, and it worked beautifully. More online games. The Whimsical Word, this lady I found actually started this Facebook page. She has got the most fantastic website with little bite-sized videos on how to do just about everything and lots of digital resources. And she's got a kind of reassuring way about her that's very nice. I love these highlights kids games. That's the I Spy games. Some of the I Spy games are quite hard to see though, so just choose them carefully. Go Noodle, they use at the schools here in South Africa, games, videos, and movement breaks for in between sessions. And then just a couple other things. This I found a master list of resources, so you can look at fluency and it'll give you some ideas of things you could do for fluency, for language, for art, for whatever. Tactus therapy for adult neuro is just one of many. The virtual reading gym, which is our homegrown award-winning program, it is offering 3 months free access, I think.
I think it's only one. I think it's if you sign up before, just go onto the website and it'll tell you.
Sign up before the 16th, you'll get a month free, and that's really fabulous. I've used that with my own kids. And then a couple of places that you can find free storybooks. The one that Elizabeth showed us was from Room to Read, and Vooks is also lovely with animated storybooks. So that's just a few places. I mean, as Elizabeth said, this will be out of date by tomorrow morning, but it's somewhere to start. Okay, and I think that is probably the depth and breadth of our knowledge at this point, and really just wishing you all the best and have fun with it, and don't be scared, just grab it and run with it.
Yeah, and help each other, call a friend, say, hey, how do you find? Don't waste hours trying to find, there's always somebody who's ahead. Yeah, good luck.
Awesome. Thank you very much, ladies. I think this was such an informative session for the speech therapists, and thank you for making it practical for the speeches also. And please, guys, this webinar will be available in our online store for free. please, it will be posted tomorrow, and share with your colleagues. I think this is such valuable information that was shared tonight also, to make it practical in your practices. And yes, like Laura and Elizabeth was saying now, share the information with your colleagues, check in with your colleagues. There will always be some people that will be a little bit further ahead in the process and that have figured out something that you haven't figured out yet. Ask them. And we are all in the same boat. This is not just a thing in South Africa, it's internationally that we are now trying to establish these platforms. And at the moment, we are in South Africa definitely leading, also very strong on our platform. So thank you very much for everybody that is contributing also towards this platform. And please, if you've got any ideas, please post it for us in our discussion so that we can share it with all the speech therapists on the group. Also, any other professional that is linked in tonight with us, please get in contact with us. If there's any questions that you do have about telehealth, we will try and answer it for you guys as far as possible. And then, yeah, I don't see that we haven't had any questions from the speech therapists tonight. I think Laura and Elizabeth, you guys did such an amazing job that you didn't have to, that I didn't want to ask a question. I think the only question that we have here, can the slides be made available to your to the therapists on the group?
Yes, of course. Take them, run with them. Have you got that informed consent at the end, Laura?
No, I haven't. What I thought, Tian, you can show us how to just maybe link the document of resources and the document of Elizabeth's informed consent. Is there a way we can kind of pin that with the video that people can download that if they'd like to use it?
Yes, so we will add it on our online shop. You will be able to download the informed consent in our online shop with the video tomorrow or in 2 days' time. We're just waiting for the technical side of the online shop to be finished. And
the
yeah.
PowerPoint as well, Tian?
Yes, everything can be added onto the video file. Okay. And then, yeah, I think from my side, Laura and Elizabeth, thank you very much, you guys, for jumping in. I know I threw you in the deep end, and
you did.
but you guys did a pretty good job tonight, and we are excited about what telehealth is going to do for your profession. I think as a speech therapist, this platform is going to be an amazing tool to be added into your practices, and the amazing amount of people that you're going to reach through this platform in our remote areas, and the people that do need this so much will be able to access quality care from now on. So thank you very much for making it practical for us tonight. And then, yeah, I just want to quickly just encourage you guys also, please, to tune in on Thursday night. We are having on Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock, we have a Physiotherapist 101, okay, on telehealth. So if you're a physio, please join us. Also, I think it's going to be an amazing opportunity to ask questions there, especially if you are still thinking about being hands-on as a physiotherapist. We are going to make it very practical for you guys. And then also we have 2 webinars that you can go and register for. Please check in our events. There is the one is Learn How to Make and Keep Human Connections in Telehealth with Marelei Venter. I know how many people of you have enjoyed the session that Marelei did the previous time on telehealth and mental health conditions, and how she made it practical. So do connect with us on next week, the 14th of April at 8 o'clock. But remember, this is a private webinar. You have to register for that. So please go in on our link and go and register so that we can add you to the Zoom list for the private webinar. Then we also have on the 16th of April, we have how to motivate patients to use and enjoy teleaudiology. I think this is going to be also a very powerful webinar, but also you have to go and register for that one on our online store or in our events. You will see that there is a Google Docs form that you can just register yourself. And then, yeah, I think this is then all from us tonight. Thank you very much for everybody that tuned in, and have a blessed week, and we hope to see you guys soon.
Thanks, Tian. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks.